here in 1990, so that's just for your dedication. I'm going to do just a real quick inspirational presentation. I did it at the Gavel Club, so some of it's similar, but I kind of deleted it down a little bit, so I just wanted to go.
We can hear it again, James.
But I just want to say, if it wasn't for the sports massage involvement for me, I wouldn't be traveling the world and doing seminars around the world. So your dedication, your volunteerism is superb. One of the things I want to just define FSMTA as family, for the F, S for success, making a difference, teamwork, and altering the lives of others. So I'm going to go into some of these details. If it weren't for Benny Vaughn and Michael McGillicuddy and Aaron Mattis, I would have never made this profession. I was about to quit in the early 90s, stop what I was doing. I was ready to just give up the profession. And because of their mentoring and their opportunity and this involvement with FSMTA Sports Massage, I'm now teaching about 12 countries around the world. So really, you got to honor the people that make you who you are. I was in Bali, Indonesia, in Australia teaching, and I was thinking about this from the mountains of Bali, Indonesia, about how this organization was the rock that got me where I'm at around the world. I want to go into a couple of things real brief. Success is making a difference in the lives of others by being humble and putting others first. It's being able to tolerate adversities. It's discovering what we're meant to do in this life and achieving that despite the obstacles. Robert Schiller said, find a need and meet it, find a hurt and heal it. True healing comes without ego, from the heart through the hands, to facilitate positive outcomes in the lives of others. That's kind of what you guys do. The making a difference, FSMTA, extending kindness is particularly relevant in how you deal with people who are helpless, elderly, homeless, mentally challenged, poor, disabled, and so on. These people all have a divine purpose according to God's plan. It's through giving that we receive, it's through acts of kindness that our immune systems are strengthened and our serotonin levels increased. If I told a patient to rate their blood levels of immune globulins or killer T cells, no one would know how. But if I teach them to love themselves, and others fully, the same change happens automatically. The truth is the love that you guys share with your patients and your athletes heals their bodies. Teamwork. Alone we can do nothing, but together our minds fuse into something whose power is far beyond the power of the separate parts. Course of Miracles. I just want to jump, since I'm going to dilute this down a little bit. Life's most persistent question, according to Martin Luther King, is what are you doing for others? You know, our success comes from overcoming obstacles and should be found in the hearts of those that we touch. So when we get into these things, altering the lives of others, FSMTA, success is about what we achieve for ourselves. It's not about what we achieve for ourselves, but what we do in improving others' lives. We don't have to be doctors to heal. A smile, a soothing conversation, compassionate touch, laughter can bring healing, kind words to people under pressure, words of mercy to the guilty. For every person in prison, there's a grieving mother. There's also something we can do to bring healing into people through our touch in this association. This is an interesting thing. Despite our challenges, this little dog has been paralyzed. She was paralyzed for 13 years, had cancer, and basically it says, despite our challenges throughout life, it becomes our choice to live a happy and productive journey. Mark Lamb was a director at BioSync. He was one of my greatest mentors ever in the history of this profession. Mark Lamb was a survivor. His whole family was part of this group in the Holocaust, except he was the only survivor. Mark Lamb overcame that to be a mentor of truth and facilitated healings. Tony Robbins said that there are 3 people who transformed my life. One is Mark Lamb. In the 30 years plus years that I've been in the field of peak performance, I've had the privilege to work with many master teachers in the area of creating immediate and dramatic improvements in one's physical body. There are none who can rival the impact of Mark Lamb's work. Mark is my friend, my mentor, and role model. And Mark talked about healing involves putting the body into homeostasis, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, to release the trauma patterns recorded into our tissues. So I got to experience Mark Lamb's work firsthand. And this isn't about me. This is about the little children at MD Anderson that didn't survive while I was there for 2 months with cancer. This is about, it takes courage to leave behind the projections, prognoses, and prophecies of other people and blaze your own trail. Through faith, we try to look at what we're going to, not what we're going through. The FSMTA, coming back to this conference for the 25th year in a row, was something my family really looks forward to every year, whether I teach or whether I don't teach. This is what we look going to, not through stuff. So interesting, even with my hip replacement. The little souls that touch our lives, and even go through that. Sometimes I use other people as role models to facilitate our healing. When we get into journey, Mark called me at MD Anderson Cancer Center once a week, despite the fact that at age 88 he was suffering from a terminal illness. Each week until 1 week before he passed away, this is what he left me, and this is some of the information. When you all go through difficult times, your children, your spouses, your health, your challenges in life. But Mark said, carefully choose and embrace the avenues of healing that you believe will heal your body, mind, and spirit. He said, surround yourself by positive people. He said, don't hang out with people waiting to facilitate a pity party, even on those really difficult days. Set powerful no-goes from MD Anderson between the work back home with Fran and my time there. We set new goals, we opened new markets. We're teaching at the Florida Chiropractic Physicians Association, and we talk about those opportunities of growth. We're teaching PT and athletic training conference. So what it did is it gives you something to look forward to surviving challenges of health. Choose the thoughts you give energy. Mark said, choose your thoughts carefully because they become your words become your actions become your character becomes your destiny. And the last thing, this really stuck with me. Millions of cells will communicate throughout your body based on the thoughts you give energy to. Research proves those thoughts can change the cells to the level of changing our DNA. So we have to be positive thinkers, especially in difficult times. I learned something. This gentleman is a shaman, and Tim Janik and his son had taken my seminar like 7 years ago. I didn't realize they didn't have any money, but I didn't realize I had calmed his son. So when he knew that I was coming to Houston to live at MD Anderson 2 months, he brought me into his retreat center. He's sort of a shaman, and he talked about the fact that DNA switches turned on by stress reverse the creative musical expression. By doing something as simple as drumming or listening to certain musical notes, benefits occur at the cellular level. And I stayed with him for the whole 2 months at no charge. So what you put out there may manifest back into your life 7 or 8 years later. Now, I know that this is a picture I used many years ago. It's a baby that would have been predestined to be born with spina bifida. As the surgeon tries to change that baby's destiny, they reach out as if to say, thank you for facilitating the healing and changing the rest of my life. And then I look at Fran's dad, who's been with Alzheimer's and used to manage the Phillies, the Cubs, and the Rangers, and sometimes they just need a hug, compassionate, loving. So in pre-birth to the elderly says, people are craving healing touch that comes from unconditional love and the incredible power of what we facilitate with human touch. Now the reason I want to share this slide, and the reason I'm with CryoDerm, and this is really touching to me. When I fell and injured my hip that required a hip replacement, my pain was about a 9, unbearable. I couldn't sleep at nights. And prior to waiting for surgery, which I had a few months ago for a total hip replacement, I was represented by BioFreeze. And I took some of the stuff he'd given me years ago out of the garage, put it around my hip, and the pain went from a 9 to about a 2 versus the former product that I used about 9 to 7. But there's a deeper level. When I got cancer, I was refused treatment at MD Anderson as your waiting list. And with the chemo radiation I would have had in Dallas, I would have lost all my vocal cords. I wouldn't have a voice today. I wouldn't be speaking at this function. I would have lost my salivary glands for sure because of the chemo radiation side effects. With proton therapy, Lloyd made a call to Rosenthal, and he made a call to Dr. Lin, who developed proton therapy, who made a call to Dr. Frank, who said, I know your insurance is not going to cover it, but we're going to get you at MD Anderson, come next week. He then argued with the doctors through the connection we have with Lloyd, argued with the doctors to get my insurance to cover my situation. So sometimes when you make a choice in life and you don't know the greater picture of that choice. So in honor of the representation of the sports massage, I have to tell you I wouldn't be speaking and teaching anymore had it been not for the connection and the choice I made to switch to CryoDerm. So thank you all for allowing us to share this work in governance. And those guys are just so honorable, especially Diane. She's been doing this since I was a student, and I'm very impressed. And
we were very lucky to have her.
I was very blessed to have her facilitate my dreams. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.